Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is JGOD. In today's video, we're going to focus on how to create a class in Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and some common mistakes that most players make. Although the video is primarily geared to all the different players that got the game recently during the holiday season, there's still going to be plenty of tips in this video that help for those common mistakes that I think a lot of players are running into, and for questions that have been asked in my comments section multiple times since the game's release. So the different things I'll be covering in this video are how to unlock and access the Creator class, how to fix the prestige glitch that happens that prevents you from using specialist equipment, how to equip operator mods, as well as some best class setups for level 25 players and below. Hopefully you'll stick around for the entire video and learn something new. If you do enjoy the video at any point, please remember to hit that like button. I'd ideally like to get this video over 500 likes, so if you can help me out with that, I'd be very appreciative. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, I typically cover Call of Duty news, in-game updates, best class setups, subscriber breakdowns, as well as other tip and trick videos on how to improve a Call of Duty. If that's the type of content you typically like to watch and you do enjoy this video, make sure you subscribe and turn those notifications on by ringing that bell so you can find your way back to the channel. So when you first start off and after every time you prestige, you got to reach level 5 before the creative class is unlocked. You'll go down in this bottom section, you'll have a little lock icon next to it. You'll have to play a few matches so you can get to level 5. And although you'll have access to the ability to create a class, you're going to be very limited on the items you can actually choose from. So if you are a very low level, I'd recommend using either the Titan default class or the Swordfish default class. And then as soon as you get access to the creative class, what you can do is make sure that you're using some kind of ICR setup. And you're going to be very limited in the beginning. You got to level up the weapon. You got to go through and progress through that system. And like I said earlier in the video, I'm going to give you the best 3 class setups for brand new players under level 25. And a side note, when it comes to the creative classes, every single time you reach level 55, max out the level, you will be able to prestige. And when you prestige, you'll go ahead and get reset back to this level 1 status where everything is locked. You'll have to reach level 5 again to gain access to that creative class. And for every time you prestige, you'll be granted an unlock token that you can use on any item within the game. So if you wanted to create your own class using the Swordfish tactical rifle right from level 5, you would be able to do that if you use your token on it, considering that is a level 55 weapon unlock. And just as a heads up, is each and every time you do prestige, you will be able to unlock a new item, which will be added to the previous list of unlocked items. So for example, if you prestige once and then use that on the SOG and then prestige again and use it on the Swordfish, second time you will have the SOG and the Swordfish. So now that we've explained that part of it, let's go ahead and talk about how you can access the creative class. So where the creative class was previously locked, now it will be unlocked. And once you click on it, you'll have access to 5 different loadouts that you can customize however you'd like, while staying within that pick 10 system, as well as staying within whatever you've unlocked based on your level. So now I'm going to talk about a few common mistakes or a few issues that a lot of people seem to run into that I've seen in my comments on previous videos. One of the main issues that I've seen people run into is that when they prestige, they get an additional creative class loadout spot. So for example, what happens is when you start off the game, you're going to have 5 creative class spots. You prestige and then now you'll have 6. And for whatever reason, this glitch has been within the game since launch, and for whatever reason, the devs just seem to ignore it. But the problem is that the specialist gear that requires no creative class slot is not automatically defaulted to that slot. So you'll have to manually equip it, even though it doesn't use any of your pick 10 slots. One of the other concepts that is lost to a lot of players, even people that are prestige 5 and above, is that there are actually operator mods in the game. People have zero clue on how to equip them. So I kind of walk you through that. I did an entire video on all the operator mods. I kind of breeze through what they do. If you want to check that out on the channel, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link down in the description. But overall, I'm going to walk you through how you equip these step by step. So the first step in that process is first identifying that operator mods exist for the particular weapon you want to use. Out of the almost 30 weapons in the game, there are a total of 18 different operator mods. So about half the weapons in the game have an operator mod. And an operator mod is basically a super attachment that modifies the weapon in some way different than the standard weapon attachments. So how you'll know a weapon has an operator mod is just below the weapon stats on the far right. You can see it says operator mod and then it says a particular attachment. And to gain access to a specific weapon's operator mod, you will have to do 2 different things. First off, you have to level the weapon all the way to the max level, which is typically level 12 to 14, somewhere in that range, depending on the weapon. And the second part of that is you have to actually equip the operator mod wildcard. So if you go to your wildcards, you'll go ahead and see that you have access in this particular area to primary operator mod and secondary operator mod, depending if you're going to be putting the operator mod on a primary weapon or a secondary weapon. Also, something to be aware of is that the operator mod will take up 3 out of your 10 pick 10 slots when you combine the 2 slots for the actual attachment and the 1 slot for the wild card. So another common mistake that I think a lot of players aren't necessarily paying attention to is that they don't use all of their pick 10 slots. They'll have 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. So always be aware at the top right hand of the screen when you are creating a class that it says 10 out of 10 for all of your classes, and that you have that specialist equipment for all of the classes. Unless you're going to be using a nade or a trophy system or something else, just make sure that those spots are full on all of your classes every single time you prestige, and that'll reduce the risk of you loading into a match not being able to use your specialist equipment. So now I'm going to go ahead and transition to a few good tips for any creative class to keep it as simple as possible and help you a little bit with the decision making when you actually go through and create a class. So one of the main tips I wanted to give you is that for the vast majority of the weapons in the game, you really only need 3 attachments. For some weapons, it might be a better idea to actually equip 4, or if you're combining an operator mod or using a sight. But in general, the vast majority of weapons in the game only need 3 attachments. And another added benefit of doing that is you typically have a good balance between perks and attachments for your weapons, so you're not going all in on perks or going all in on attachments. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the perks. And for the perk 1 category, Tac Mask is probably my #1 perk I'd use, then Engineer, and then obviously if you go on a little bit longer streak, Scavenger is going to be important. For perk 2, if you're going to use a perk 2, I'd highly recommend using Gung Ho or Dexterity. Those seem to be the top 2 in this particular category. And when it comes to the perk 3 category, the only one I'd really recommend is Dead Silence. Unless you're playing hardcore, I'd recommend using Team Link. So the next thing we'll go ahead and talk about is your choice of gear. And there's really only 3 that you should be using in the game, in my opinion. One is Stim Shot if you're going to play aggressively so you can heal faster. Comsec Device so you can get your streaks if they're a little bit harder to get, or you want to get higher streaks a little bit easier. And for just a little bit more map awareness, I'd highly recommend that acoustic sensor. And although equipment charge can be very useful, I wouldn't recommend it for a brand new player unless you know exactly what you're doing with it. And I would just recommend avoiding body armor completely. For one, it slows you down, so you're going to be an easier target to hit in any gunfight. And the bigger issue with it, in my opinion, is it is a one-use item per life. Meaning that once you take enough damage or get hit with FMJ once, it's destroyed and it's useless for that entire life. So I think so far I've covered a lot of different materials. So let's go ahead and get into the top 3 best class setups for people level 25 and under. And the main reason I chose level 25 is because if you guys didn't notice, is every time you level up, it takes a little bit more experience to level up to the next level. So when you reach level 25, you're approximately 20% the way all the way to prestiging. So all 10 of the pick 10 items in these 3 different creative classes will be for level 25 and lower items. First up on deck is the ICR best class setup for level 25 and under. Right here, I'm running the Reflex Sight, Grip 1, Grip 2, and FMJ. I'll get to the launcher in a quick second, but for the gear, you can pretty much run any of the 3 that I talked about: acoustic sensor, Stim Shot, or that Comsec Device. Running perk 1 as that Tac Mask and perk 3 as Dead Silence. Since this particular class setup does have an optic attached with it, you're only left with 1 additional pick 10 slot, and I decided to go with the launcher in this particular case, but you could easily use any of the perks from that perk 2 slot if you have them available. And with that, we'll go ahead and transition to the next best class setup, and in my opinion, that is going to be for the Rampart 17. Personally, for this weapon, I don't think it needs an optic. And then right there for the attachments, you can see I'm using High Cal 1, High Cal 2, and Grip. And the same thing holds true when it comes to the gear in this particular class setup. You can either use the Stim Shot, the Comsec Device, or the acoustic sensor. So with this one, if you go ahead and equip that Tac Mask and Dead Silence, you're going to be left with 2 different pick 10 slots. And with that, you pretty much have 3 different options. You could either run Scavenger like I'm doing here, or you can actually do the thing that we did with the ICR where you run an optic and a launcher, or an optic and a perk. Or you can actually equip that 4th attachment and actually go for fast mags or FMJ. So that's 2 best class setups down and 1 to go, and this particular class setup is still going to revolve around the rifle category. And the main reason for that is because rifles are very dominant in this game. I think a new player to the game is probably not going to do as well with the GKS or the Spitfire or the SOG, so staying with this particular weapon category is probably the best bet for new players. And the 3rd class setup we'll be using is for the KN with hybrid mag, rapid fire, and a suppressor. You can see how the gear is positioned with all the different perks, so it's going to be very similar to the Rampart. In case you want to drop Scavenger, you can actually pick up an optic with a launcher, an optic with a perk from perk 2, or that 3rd option where you just take up another attachment. In this particular case, you might go with Grip. So I'd actually love to know your guys' thoughts and feedback down in the comment section below. Let me know, what was your favorite tip from the entire video? Also, was there another best class setup that you think I missed that could be very helpful to people level 25 and under? But at this point in the video, we've pretty much covered all the different topics I said I'd cover. So that's how to level up and unlock and access your creative class. We covered that prestige glitch that happens with your particular specialist equipment. I also described how to equip operator mods, as well as plenty other tips, and then we just covered the 3 best class setups for people level 25 and under. So hopefully you did find the video helpful in some way. If you did, please remember to hit that like button so we can get this video over 500 likes. And if you are brand new to the channel and haven't already hit that subscribe button with notifications on, this is definitely the time to do it. You stuck around to this part, you probably enjoyed the content. I do appreciate all the support on all the videos I put out. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.